There's one story that I don't think that I ever told you,
Mhm.
and it's a language story. And it happened years ago when I just came to Canada and
Mhm.
I had to take my TESOL certification. TESOL is teaching English as a second language, and it's a certification that a lot of ESL teachers must have here in Canada, unless they graduated and majored in English here in Canada.
With technicality,
Anyway,
yes.
yeah. So as a part of the course, we had to prepare a mock lesson for the classmates and the teacher who was teaching the course. And my mock class was supposed to be about either buying medicine or something like at the pharmacy.
Hmm.
And in my class, in my lesson, there was a couple of times that I had to repeat one phrase. And that was the phrase, I'm gonna say it as I say it at that time, and it was the phrase, thanks God. And I
Okay.
was like, thanks God you have this prescription, or thanks God you guys are still open, or something like that.
Yeah.
And after I was done with my presentation. The teacher gave me the feedback, the classmates gave me the feedback, and when we were going home, the teacher pulled me aside. He was like, there's something I want to talk to you about. And I was like, what? He's like, it's about the expression, thanks God.
Yeah.
I was like, what's wrong with it? And he's like, actually, it's thank God. I was like, oh my God. Thank God you told me. So since that day, I've
Yeah,
never made this mistake again. And actually it does make a lot of
it
sense because you
does.
are not talking to God
Yeah.
explicitly like, oh, thanks, comma, God. You're just thank to God,
Yeah.
like blah, blah, blah. This thing happened or not happened. So since that day, I've never made this mistake again. However, I did notice that a lot of people do tend to make
That
this
you're right.
mistake.
Yeah. It is I think it is a very common
Hmm.
I guess it was, you know what? It must have been a pet peeve of your teacher.
Hmm.
Maybe it's something that was just kind of irking him in his head and he had to pull you
Yes.
aside
Yeah.
to let you
I'm
know.
very
But
grateful
that's really
to him
good.
for that.
It's good that he was able to like pull you aside and let
Hmm.
you know privately and like not embarrass you in front of the class if he said it while he was
Yes.
giving the feedback. And it's good because he didn't give you that feedback because that's not part of the lesson. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Anyway, that's
Yeah.
like technicalities
Hmm.
of
Being
in
a good teacher.
being in the certification course. But
Yeah.
that actually leads me to think about a lot of pet peeves that I personally have.
Okay.
And these are disclaimer, just a disclaimer. This is not in the classroom. So when people make mistakes in the classroom, this is natural. This is supposed to happen.
Hmm.
I'm talking about public things that are written. You know, you've got public blogs on professional websites of
Hmm.
brands, of universities, of
Of
a lot
people
of
providing any kind of
any kind of
services.
service.
Hmm.
You've got websites, you've got social media, and when people write things on their social media or in the caption of their social media. And also, I would say, even sometimes I see these things in comments.
Hmm.
So
Comment
when you,
section.
yeah, when you look at the comment section, or if you're on Reddit, you know, like I'm a lurker on Reddit. I like to read and get information from there. And I see certain people post things, and I see things that are grammatically incorrect that anybody with a basic education in Canada or America or wherever should know, but they make these mistakes very clearly not knowing
Hmm.
what the difference is.
Hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to give you one and
Okay.
I'm sure you'll agree with me. Uh one that really kind of irks me is your and your.
Oh, yes.
So your your and then your the contraction of you are.
Hmm.
You apostrophe re.
Hmm.
And people confuse these things all the time and it just gets me because it's like how do you not know how contractions work?
Exactly. And like, where did this apostrophe come from?
Yeah.
Like, you never asked
Where did it come
yourself?
from or where did it go? It's like when people are, for example, you know, you write in the caption like, you know, the best, like if it's some sort of advertisement, right?
Hmm.
Like the best product for your pet.
Hmm.
And they write you apostrophe re. It's like,
Why?
Do you
Yeah.
guys not have people checking these spell
Mhm.
checking these things? And how do you not know what the difference is? So that is one that kind of is a pet peeve of mine when I see it,
Yeah.
especially in public places.
I guess that we can throw in this badge the it's and it's
Ooh,
as a possessive pronoun and
yeah,
it's as it apostrophe as like the contraction of it is.
yeah.
I do see that people tend to make this mistake a lot as well.
I feel, yeah, you're right. I feel like it's and it is more common. I
Mm-hmm.
think people confuse the grammar between those two
Mm-hmm.
things a lot more commonly than your and your. I feel like your and your is very obvious. So when I see it, I'm like, come on,
Mm-hmm.
guys, what are we doing here? You
Yeah,
know?
but I mean, for me, maybe again, I mean, I'm not a native English speaker, but maybe because I'm a teacher and because I do think that these things are like basic of
Yeah,
English grammar,
it
like
is.
how come, you
Yeah.
do not know the difference between it's and it apostrophe as?
Yes. The other one, there's actually three that are
Mm-hmm.
homophones, but a lot of people get them confused. It's there.
Oh
Okay,
yes,
so there's three different theirs.
the Holy
The
Trinity.
holy trinity
Uh-huh.
of, I don't know, chaos. So you've got there, which is, you know, here, there,
Mm-hmm.
opposite of here, right? Oh, where's my pen? It's over there,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you've got there, and then you have their, the possessive pronoun. So it's
Car.
their car, it's their house. Let's go to their house. And then you have the contraction they are with the apostrophe. THEY apostrophe RE. Again, very different words, supposed to be used in very different situations. But then again, I will see it written incorrectly somewhere, and I'm just thinking, like, oh my gosh, how is this mistake made?
Yes, and also they are homophones. Okay, when you say them, like you
Yeah,
do not know what actually the person means, but when you write them, they're so different.
yeah.
They're so different. And the thing is not only about the apostrophe, it's like totally three different words.
Yeah, completely different word.
Hmm.
And obviously because they're homophones, you don't know if they're making that mistake.
When they're
They're making
speaking.
that mistake when they're
Uh-huh.
speaking. So it's only a mistake that you see in writing.
Yes.
And especially when it's a public platform, if it's a brand, you have social media marketers, you have people that have to approve and review and look at this stuff. So it goes through different
Layers
layers
and
of
layers.
people
Hmm.
who are just approving, 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 and then finally it goes to the public and they've all missed it. How is that possible? So
Yeah.
this type of thing, I think for me is a little bit unforgivable, I
It
would
is. It
say.
is.
I don't mean
Especially
to
with
be,
these like elementary things. Like they're
yeah,
the basics.
yeah, I don't want to be dramatic about it, but it's like,
Hmm.
yeah, this is unforgivable.
Yeah,
Unforgivable.
you shouldn't be doing this.
Yes.
Especially, well, Hannah mentioned like layers and layers of like proofreading, but even like your phone and your computers, they have autocorrect.
Mm-hmm.
Like listen to it from time to time,
Turn
please.
autocorrect
Yes.
even.
I guess another thing that I have on my mind is could have, should have, would have.
Yeah.
And when you say it, you cannot actually hear most of the time
Yeah.
what's meant. But when people write it, they write could off, would off, or should off.
Like OF.
Should off called you, or I don't know, could off been better. So the correct way of using these expressions is could have, should have, would have.
Yeah.
And again, I believe that this thing crept its way in people's vernacular and texting or whatever, writing captions, because when you pronounce it fast, like I could have think better at the time, whatever. It does sound like could have
Yeah, and some people
because
don't even,
the contraction have the have is being contracted and turned into VE.
and they don't even pronounce, like a lot of the
Exactly.
time you don't even pronounce that sound at the end, the
Mhm.
V or the F sound.
Mhm.
It just, we say coulda,
Coulda,
shoulda,
coulda,
woulda.
shoulda,
Yeah.
woulda.
I would
Hmm.
have called you, but I fell
Yes.
asleep.
Yeah.
Like it's pronunciation wise, it's not an issue,
Yeah.
but in writing,
So it's another thing,
yeah.
yes, in writing, in the comment section or in the captions. I don't think that I've ever seen people using it like in blogs, but in the comment section or captions, it's like Come
Yeah.
on. Come
Yeah.
on. It's not, I know that it sounds like kind of cool, maybe like slangish, like could
Yeah.
have, but it's not the proper way
I
of
would
writing
say
it.
I would say when you put of instead of spelling it, like if you misspell it, you could spell it could right, with
Mm-hmm.
an A.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're purposely separating it and writing could of of, then
The
you're
grammar police is on the
the
way.
the grammar is incorrect. Yeah, the grammar is totally incorrect. If you used coulda with an A, you're using slang. You're
Yeah.
slang
It's
typing.
like gonna, ama.
Gonna, yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
exactly. So that there's no excuse.
Yeah.
There's no excuse for that. Another, okay, grammar aside, not thinking about grammar, I so you know me with like expressions and idioms. I love
Collocation.
collocations. I love using collocations and these phrasal verbs. I love these things. And it does kind of irk me a little bit when these are used incorrectly or people think that it's supposed to be one way, but it's
Mm-hmm.
actually another way.
Okay,
So
what do
for
you have in your
example,
mind?
this is a big one for me. When people say, I could care less.
Oh,
And
good
this is
one.
so common.
It is
People
very
say this
common.
all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I could care less. Okay. So the situation that you say I could care less is, or I, okay, the correct way to say it is I could not care less or I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't care less. You say this in situations where you want to mean I don't care. Like I really don't care. There is nothing in the world that I care about less than this,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
There is no lesser that I care.
I
Mm-hmm.
really, I'm just expressing to you how much I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh, you want to tell me some rumor or some piece of gossip about, I don't know, somebody that I met 5 years ago? You want to tell me about their family gossip? I don't care. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what does that have to do with me? I could not care less.
Mm-hmm.
When you say I could care less, it means
The
the
opposite.
opposite. It
The
means you
absolute
don't care.
opposite.
So
Yeah.
in my head, when people say I could care less, I just think like, oh, well, so you do care. Like
Yeah.
it's just a little
Because it
nagging.
does sound like, again, if we are talking about like that gossip of a friend of yours from 5 years ago, and you're like, oh my God, I care so much. I wish I could care less.
Yeah.
This is what it means.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's a
So,
little that's just a little mistake that people make. And I think I don't know what it is. It just kind of maybe one person used it once by mistake and then that just
uh-huh.
kind of took off and it evolved and
Yeah,
people just didn't think about it because a lot of people don't think about where phrases come from,
exactly.
right? So I think that's just
Yeah.
why people say it and people use it so commonly. But
Or,
for me, it
yeah, or
bothers
maybe
me.
also like mishearing, like I couldn't care less. I
Couldn't care less.
like
Yeah,
more kind of like eating
the sound of
the
it
sound.
is
Yeah,
small,
yeah.
though. True.
Um, I speaking about expressions, there is one for um I don't know. I would say that not a lot of ESL students might make this mistake because it's a more like advanced language. And this is the phrase. First, we're using the incorrect version, okay? This is the phrase for all intensive purposes. Like what? Why are your purposes so
What's
intensive?
so
What's
intensive?
so intensive about them? So the correct way of saying this expression is for all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
It's a great phrase. Please do use it.
Great ways to say things.
Exactly,
Yeah.
but use it correctly, please. And you can see it a lot on, again, in the comment section. I do see it because when people argue, they would want to use it, and then they go like, for all intensive purposes, this is incorrect. And you're like,
I
okay.
also see people say it in videos.
Yes,
Yeah.
in
Like, oh,
videos as
for
well.
all intensive
Yeah.
purposes, I'm doing
Yeah.
this video for blah, 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 blah.
Here you guys cannot hide it, like could have or whatever. We can hear
We
it.
can hear it. Yeah.
Hmm.
There is a distinct, you can hear the difference between intensive and intense and. Like,
Hmm.
for all intents and purposes, for all intensive purposes. Like, I
Yes,
feel
you
like
can clearly
it's
hear it.
pretty clear. And you can
Yeah.
see the mouth shape when
Yeah,
people are speaking in
right.
their videos, right?
Hmm.
So you know that it's wrong. There's also just this, okay. This one maybe is reaching a little bit. It's a small thing, but it is a common mistake. When people say one in the same, like
Mm-hmm.
okay, when we say one and the same, this is the correct way to
Mm-hmm.
say it. It just means like these are all, it's all the same. This is the
Yeah.
same. There's no difference. But it means it's one and the same. Like it
Mm-hmm.
is one thing and it is the same thing, right?
Yeah.
But people, instead of saying and,
They
they
say
say
it.
in. And what does that mean?
Yeah, like
Like this one is in the same thing?
maybe people think that like this one is in the same group of things. I don't know. But
Maybe.
yeah, it's
Okay, that's a
it's
good point. That's a good
this
point.
is not what it means.
Yeah.
Another one very commonly used mistake is the word irregardless.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah,
Irregardless.
yeah, yeah.
And I guess that it came from the idea that people think that the prefix ir, is negative prefix, like
Hmm.
regular, irregular. But the word regardless already has like this, it first of all, it has already negative meaning.
Yeah,
And maybe because of the less, so you don't need ear. The correct way of saying that would be regardless.
regardless.
Yes.
Yeah,
So regardless of your level of English, please do use regardless
yeah. I
correctly.
would say, yeah, irregardless is a negative, is a double
It's
negative,
a double
right? So you
negative.
shouldn't, yeah.
Totally. Mhm.
Technically, I mean, it's double negatives are used all the time. It's totally fine, but technically,
But not here.
yeah,
It's like it's a made up word. It doesn't exist.
that's true. Yeah, it
Yeah,
doesn't exist.
regardless of whether double negatives
Regardless of
exist.
the weather, we are going out,
Yeah.
right? Not
Hmm.
irregardless. That makes
Yeah.
no sense. Yeah. Okay. Another, I guess like we can categorize these things
Okay,
a
let's
little bit
do it.
differently. So in
Hmm.
another category that is a little bit of a like a language pet peeve of mine is when when certain words or phrases have been overused,
Hmm.
just too much. And
Okay.
too much to the point where sometimes it has lost all meaning from the
Yeah.
original, like what it actually means.
Hmm.
And my biggest example of this is the word literally.
Oh, literally.
So the word literally, I literally and I, we have issues.
Hmm.
This word and I, we have some issues. The word literally is used so much to not actually mean literally. You
Hmm.
know, it's like, oh my God, I literally died, or I'm literally like I literally am starving, or
Hmm.
things like that. It kind of bothers me, and I know that people use it like that on purpose and things like that, but it does bother me because it's like, okay, well, you're not using it
Yeah.
correctly. And also, not only that, not only is it not used correctly, it's overused. So I find that people use it as almost a crutch word. Like they will
Uh-huh.
say it just to put in.
Like
Exactly. They will just say literally for anything,
anything.
just to
Uh-huh.
fill space in their sentence. They just add it, pop it in whenever they want, wherever they want. They just pop in the literally. And it's like, stop.
What are we even doing here,
What are we
literally?
doing here?
I am guilty of using the word literally quite often in our episodes and in our language labs. But this is what is happening in my non-native English speaker's brain. So, hearing the word literally everywhere on the internet, I guess that first of all, it does sound very nice. It just rolls off your
It
tongue.
does. That's
And
true.
it does like it's very like literally, it makes this like like twirly thing
Yeah,
in your
yeah.
mouth. And I guess that for me, when I use it, my brain is like, you know what? Everybody uses it. Like, why don't we use it? Maybe it will make us sound like more natural,
Yeah.
like throwing, as you said, like as a crutch word.
Just throwing it
Like
in.
if English speakers use it, then like, why don't I use it?
Yeah.
It will make my speech like the flow of my speech like more natural. And because I can say the word literally, it's like blah, 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 like a little tongue twister. So
I could see
I
that.
can sound more English, let's
Because
say.
because it's such a popular word that's
Yes.
used so
Yeah.
commonly,
Yes.
other people add it into their
Exactly.
vernacular.
Again, I do not know if this is happening to any of my fellow non-English speakers. It would be nice to hear from you guys because this is, I believe, what is happening to me when I say the word
Okay.
literally for like emphasis and exaggeration.
So something different happens in my head when I hear literally.
Mhm.
So when I was younger, much younger, like when you kind of imitate certain ways people speak,
Mhm.
there are certain things that, certain intonation or certain words
Mhm.
that you use. So when I was younger in movies, TV shows, when you were imitating a teenage girl, kind of like a ditzy teenage girl, they used like a lot.
Mhm.
Oh my God, like, right?
Mhm.
But it's evolved a little bit. So nowadays, I think when we're imitating this ditzy teenager, we
Mhm.
use literally, right? Oh my God, literally perfect, literally this, literally
Yeah.
that. And so this in my head, I hear like a high-pitched teenage girl's voice kind of talking like
Mhm.
this. And so I think that's why it also kind of scratches my
With
brain.
literal line.
Literally. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I think this is why it does
Interesting.
uh it does tweak, like it hits my brain
Hmm.
whenever I hear it.
Something is happening there.
I use it too. I use it a lot, but I use it to actually mean literally.
Literally.
If I want to
Hmm.
emphasize that it actually did happen, if something did actually happen, I will use the word literally,
Hmm.
but I will use it correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Another phrase that I don't think, I guess that it's used by all of the ages of the population and regardless of their language ability, but this phrase should go away. And this is the phrase, no offense, but. And
Yes.
spoiler alert, the offense is coming your way.
Yes.
And it's not a language thing per se. I guess that it's more about like being socially normal person
Yeah.
and adequate and having like a normal and friendly relationship with other people. Because I guess that it's like so toxic when you say it because you say no offense. And first of all, you will offend me by saying whatever you're going to say next. Second of all, you know that it's going to make me feel uncomfortable or upset
Yeah.
or whatever because you're giving me the warning. Like, what do you want to do? Like, do you think that it's going to make me feel better
Yeah.
if you gave me the warning? Like, no, you should stop
It's
using this.
it's a really passive aggressive
It
way of
is a passive
speaking.
aggressive
And
way.
I don't like that kind, I don't really like that kind of way of speaking,
Mm-hmm.
because when you say something like that, when you say no offense, it's as if you're expecting whatever offensive thing you're going to say is going to be forgiven
Yeah.
because
Or it's
you
going
just
to
added
soften.
in
Yeah.
no offense. But I feel like nowadays, I mean, maybe this has always been the case, but if somebody starts with no offense, but you get your defenses up, right? You're
Exactly.
you're ready to be offended.
Mm-hmm.
So of course you're coming in knowing and ready to be defensive,
Exactly.
ready to be offended by something.
And there are so many beautiful and normal ways of having difficult conversations with people and
Exactly.
telling them something that they
Yeah.
would most likely not be happy to
Yeah.
hear.
I think it's
Yeah.
honestly
So,
it's a passive aggressive
mm-hmm,
way of being rude,
mm-hmm.
for
Yeah,
sure, I would
yeah.
say. Okay, another one. You know what? Maybe this is a little bit older, but I still hear it every now. Of course, not as often as I used to, but I still hear it every now and then. It's YOLO. You only live once. I, yeah, I don't hear it that often these days, but every now and then I will hear somebody say it and it makes me cringe. And the reason why it makes me cringe is because it's so old.
Mm-hmm.
So it's such an ancient word. And even back then when people said it, it did kind of
YOLO.
cringe. It was a little bit of a cringy word for me
Mm-hmm.
too, even when it was popular. But now, years and years and years later, when I hear it, I'm just thinking, oof, come on. Let's retire some words are ready to be retired.
Yeah.
Let's let go of them.
Interestingly, I don't think that I have ever heard anyone say YOLO to me here in
In real life.
Canada in real life. I do know this expression because of one song by The Lonely Island, and their song is literally called YOLO. And that's how I know this expression. But I don't think that I've heard people say it, and I
Yeah.
don't think that I've ever used it. I mean, unless I wanted to be like funny, like hey, YOLO.
Like as a ironically, you're
Yeah,
trying to use it.
ironically,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
I was around when it was popular and
Hmm.
it was used just for just the most little mediocre things. It was just oh, should I buy this? Should I buy this shirt? Like it's really expensive. I don't really
Mhm.
need it. But you know what? YOLO.
Oh God,
It's
yeah.
just it
Okay.
made me cringe a
Yeah,
little bit.
it
Yeah.
does. Okay. So there is another category of words that is pronunciation pet peeves.
Mm-hmm.
There are just some words that people pronounce incorrectly.
Yeah.
And again, guys, I don't want to be a hypocrite, you know? I am not a native English speaker. I do mispronounce a lot of words. I do make mistakes. I'm totally aware of this. So it's not that I'm like calling all of the other kettles black.
And it's not about ESL
It's not about
pronunciation.
ESL
It's
pronunciation.
also, it's yeah, it's not about ESL
It's not
pronunciation,
about
right?
this. Yes,
Okay.
I just wanted to make it clear once again. So, and I have the word that bothers me so much more than it probably should. Like it's my very big pet peeve, not only in English, but also in my first languages because it's the same word. And this is the word espresso. Oh my God. I even say it and my brain goes like, like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't. Guys, it's espresso.
yeah,
It's the drink, like the shot of
yeah.
espresso, like coffee.
Where did the X come
Espre
from?
So I guess, again, don't quote me on that, but it could be because like maybe people think that like it will put you into express mode. You're getting an express dose of caffeine and like adrenaline spikes in your bloodstream.
That is a good
But
theory.
honestly, I doubt that. I
Yeah.
honestly doubt that.
No excuses.
No excuses. It is espresso, a nice cup of
Yeah.
espresso. No extra letters, please.
I feel like I hear it less now because of the Sabrina Carpenter song, the Espresso song. Oh my gosh, such a good
Oh,
song. But
sorry.
I feel like because that song became so popular, people are pronouncing it correctly now.
Oh, okay, good,
But yeah, you're right.
good.
That's I
But that thing again, in English and in my first languages, people do
I
say
can understand
espresso,
that. I
unfortunately.
totally
Mm-hmm.
empathize with that. Another pronunciation thing, and it's not super, super common. And maybe this is okay. Maybe this has to do with how people read the word. Maybe it's like a dyslexia thing, and I'm sorry
Okay.
if it is, but you know the word supposedly?
Oh, okay,
Like
good one.
supposedly I
Uh-huh.
heard da 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 da. Sometimes people will pronounce it supposably with a
Yes.
B sound instead of a
Mm-hmm.
D sound. And it makes me so confused because where are you getting the B from? Where does the B come in?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It just doesn't make any sense because it's supposed, right? It's
Yeah.
like the adjective or whatever, and then
Mhm.
you're just throwing in a random B there. It makes no sense.
Well, I guess that it could also be the thing about people mishearing it at some point, because like when you say it fast, like supposedly,
Yeah,
maybe they
maybe.
at some point somebody heard like supposedly and like started saying supposedly, and then it went all over the place like some kind of a virus.
Yeah, yeah.
Because interesting thing about my niece who is going to turn 7 in a couple of months, and she was born and she's growing up here in Canada, so she's learning English, of course, as like she learns it naturally,
Yeah.
and she speaks great English, great pronunciation, vocabulary, and all that stuff. But sometimes she would surprise me with like the easiest things, the simplest things. So, the example, she's watching someone on YouTube Kids, and she was telling me about like this kid's YouTuber, and she's like, "Yeah, this guy, he lives in Jacksonville, California, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Wait, what?
Rewind.
Where does he live?" She's like, "Jacksonville, California." And I'm like, "What is the second word?" She's like, "California." Like, are you deaf? I was like, okay, what is California? And she's like, well, this is the place in the United States. And I was like, okay, it's actually California.
Yeah.
And she was like, no way, it's California. I was like, okay, let's take a look at the map. It's actually California. So she was walking around thinking that it was California.
That's so
Or
cute.
the same thing, she surprised me a couple of days ago. We were talking, I don't even know why we were talking about it, but she told me about volcano eruption.
Oh my God.
And it's like, excuse me, say what now? And she was like, volcano
Oh,
eruption. And I was like, okay, it's actually eruption
you
because
know
it
what?
erupts. So I guess that,
It's good
yeah,
that she made that mistake with you and not
yeah.
around out in
Hmm.
public. That's so
And then I
funny.
was thinking that, like, yeah, it's so easy to like mishear it, California for
Yeah.
California or eruption for eruption.
Yeah.
I mean,
That makes sense. I mean, a lot, that's how
hmm.
people learn, that's how kids
Yeah,
grow up learning languages.
exactly.
They
Yeah,
hear it from people and then sometimes they hear it a certain
yeah.
way and that's how it stays with them. Yeah, you know what, surprisingly though, when it comes to that type of thing, I don't get annoyed at dial like more pronunciation of words from different areas. So I
Hmm.
know that there's a lot of people online that have strong opinions about how certain words are sound. So for example, like pasta, like
Mm.
pasta or pasta. I know I've heard that pasta is the American English way and pasta is the Canadian English way, but I don't care
Hmm.
whichever way it's pronounced.
Okay, you couldn't care
I
less.
couldn't care less.
Okay.
Like aunt or aunt,
Uh,
bag or I don't know how else people pronounce it.
uh-huh.
So there's certain words like that where I know that it is a common pet peeve of certain people,
Hmm.
but I it doesn't bother me at
Yeah.
all. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, neither do I.
Do you tend to correct people when you hear them mispronouncing or saying some expressions or phrases
Not at all.
incorrectly?
Yeah, outside of the classroom and even inside of the classroom, I'm careful when I do it.
Hmm. And
Um,
how, of
and
course.
how
Hmm.
if it is something that's relevant to what I'm doing, or if it's something that I feel like would help for me to mention it,
Hmm.
then I will. If it's a small thing, I don't. When it comes to my personal life, like with my family and my friends, definitely no. I don't correct people
Yeah.
ever.
I guess that it would be weird because they're all English speakers,
Yeah, that's true.
right?
Yeah, it might the people around me, on the most part, and the people I grew up with on the most part are native
Hmm.
English speakers. So it would be really bad if I'm
Yeah.
walking around correcting people on their grammar. You know what I mean? Like it would just be not a, I probably wouldn't have any friends at this point if that
Yeah.
was the case.
Do
But
correct me though. I always ask you,
yeah.
please do, especially if it's some like reoccurring mistake that I'm making.
Although it is a habit now, so I don't even notice these things. I try to let it pass. So
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
barely correct you.
Hmm.
I don't think I've ever corrected you. You've like had to ask me if this was correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess you're
I
right.
don't think I've ever
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
corrected you. I'll try. I'll try.
Yeah, because I do sometimes try to bring to my friends' attention again, not English speakers, okay, not native English speakers, of course, but for the people that I know would appreciate it, first of all, and of
Hmm.
course I'm trying to do it like as gently as possible and
Yeah.
not like, excuse me, actually you mispronounced it. Not in this way. I would either repeat what they said, but in the correct way,
Yeah.
or I don't know, somehow we'll bring it into the conversation again. And I do sometimes make it with some of my friends who I know use the word in their professional field, but they
Mm,
mispronounce it. So in that case, I would be like, okay,
I gotta say
yeah,
something.
I gotta say something because again, I know that they would benefit from it, right?
Yeah,
Using this word correctly. But yeah,
that's
it's
true.
not a very
Yeah,
common thing that I do.
it's not something I'm in the habit of at all, but
Yeah.
I will try.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you guys, listeners, have similar pet peeves and need to rant a little bit, let us know by dropping us an email at eslpoducateme@gmail.com
Mhm.
or follow us on Instagram at PoducateMe. Let us know if there are any other language pet peeves that you have that I can add to my list because
Mhm.
my list is always growing.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
So until next time, I also just keep listening for our language lab that is coming up.
We'll see you in a couple of seconds.
Bye.
Bye.
Stay tuned. We have the language lab coming up next.
Welcome back to Language Lab, where we gently roast our own language habits and then explain them responsibly.
Yes, and in our Grammar Grudges episode, we confessed our pet peeves, our dramatic reactions to misplaced apostrophes,
Hmm.
and our emotional response to literally being used for absolutely everything.
And now we are dissecting the language behind this drama. Deep breath and red pen ready. Let's go.
All right, our first word is technicality. Technicality means it's something that's a small detail in a rule or a law or a contract or a policy that may not seem important. It's a small point, but it
Hmm.
actually does matter. So it's a technicality. Like grammar is a lot of little technicalities, we can say.
Hmm. The next word is an adjective mock, and we used it as a mock lesson, I believe I
Yeah.
used it. And mock in this meaning as an adjective means not real, used to imitate or simulate something, like you can have a mock test. But also the word mock as a verb means to make fun of someone or something. And what comes to mind is a viral video of people walking in the forest and going like, "Oh, is that a mockingbird?" And then the bird goes, "Oh, is that a mockingbird?" So yeah, that's mocking.
Yeah. Next up is the word pet peeve, and we use this word a lot. It's just one of our it was the topic of this
Huh?
episode. And a pet peeve is a small thing. It's a little thing that annoys you every time it happens. It's not something that would necessarily make you angry
Hmm.
or upset or truly feel something inside. It's just a small little annoyance. Like everybody has pet peeves, right?
Yeah.
It's just that's just life. That's just
And
everybody.
a good way to remember the word peeve, I mean, Pat is like Pat, is if you're a Harry Potter fan and if you read the books, think about the poltergeist, Peeves. He is very annoying. So, and I guess that his name is actually written as Peeve, but
Yeah.
with S in the end.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah.
That makes sense.
That makes
Good way
sense.
to think about it.
Another word is the word contraction that we have on our list. And contraction is a shortened form of two words joined together with the help of an apostrophe, like it is can be turned into it's, should have can be turned into should have,
Mhm.
and so many other examples that we
Yeah.
can say. Yeah,
It
it
comes
is.
it comes from the word contract, which means to make smaller.
Uh-huh. Okay. I was thinking about another meaning of the word contraction, but we're not going to be talking about this one. Anyway, contraction, when we talk about grammar, is tiny but powerful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Homophone, another language related
Mm-hmm.
word. A homophone is they are words that sound exactly the same. The pronunciation, the way that you pronounce it is exactly the same, but the meaning is different and the spelling is different.
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking about homophones when we were talking about there and there, it's and it's. What was the other one that we had?
Your.
Your, again, spelt differently, different meanings, but sound exactly the same.
Mm-hmm. And the next word on the list is the word irk. And honestly, the word itself is irky for me, and I guess for a lot of people. To irk means to annoy slightly. It doesn't enrage you, it just gently irritates your soul. And
Yeah.
when you say it, it's like irk. It's like, oh.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we are including one of the words that people very commonly mispronounce or missay.
Mm-hmm.
So this expression is for all intents and purposes, and we thought we would just expand a little bit on what it actually
Mm-hmm.
means. So when we say for all intents and purposes, this expression is used when we say in almost every sense, in almost every case. So for example, for all intents and purposes, this way of doing things is correct, right? And so again, the mistake that people say is intensive purposes instead of intense and
Mm-hmm.
purposes.
The next one is we also use it a lot, throwing it around, double negative. And double negative means that a sentence or an expression use two negative words which can cancel each other out or create emphasis. Like a lot of people, I mean, in the books, people also use it a lot, or in the movies, and you can hear it online when people say, "Me? I didn't do nothing."
Yeah.
So didn't and nothing, they cancel each other out, meaning that like
You
you
did
did it
something. Exactly. Yeah. So you got to be careful how it's totally okay to use double negatives if you're meaning
if you
it
mean
to
it
be
and you
correct.
know what you're doing.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. Literally, again, another word that we talked about that we want to expand on a little bit and explain. Literally means that something is real and it is exact,
Uh-huh.
right? So if you say, I literally jumped, like
Hmm.
somebody scared me and I literally jumped, it means that you did jump. You're
You
not
did the
just
actual action.
exactly,
Hmm.
exactly.
Yeah. The next expression is a crutch word. And a crutch word is a word that someone uses too often without realizing it. There are words like, basically, actually, like. And the word crutch actually has a different meaning. When the person has a broken leg, they use these like thingies that go like, it's like a stick with the special like holder that you can put your armpit on, and it helps you to walk.
Yeah.
So I believe that as a crutch word, it also helps you to lean against the word while you're looking for, or like a connection
Yeah,
in
it's
between
a way to
words.
support your
Mm-hmm.
sentences when you're
Mm-hmm.
speaking. Everybody uses it. We just have to be careful not to overuse
Overused,
certain crutch
yes.
words. Imitate. To imitate is to copy someone's speech or behavior. And it's fine to imitate people to practice, but you want to be careful because it might sound like mocking, which
Mm-hmm.
is what you had mentioned
Yes.
before.
And another word that we have on our list is a great word, and it's the word ditzy. And ditzy means slightly silly or absent-minded. But please be careful with this one because it can sound playful, but also it can be insulting depending on the tone and on the situation that you're using this word in.
Yeah. Adequate. Adequate means it's good enough, but it's not perfect or it's not amazing, right? So you can say, "Oh, this meal, this dish was adequate.
Hmm.
I didn't love it, I didn't hate it, but it was adequate."
The next expression is passive aggressive. Good one, buzzword. You might hear it a lot on the internet. And to be passive aggressive means expressing anger indirectly instead of openly. And as a lot of psychotherapists say, that being passive aggressive is actually being lazy. You don't want to talk to people about your feelings. You're just throwing those comments on them and waiting for them to notice what's wrong.
Yeah, passive aggressiveness is not fun, for sure.
Mm-mm.
Okay, our next word is the word ironic. Ironic is okay, so basically it means when the opposite of what you're actually expecting happens. So it's a little bit harder to explain, I would say, but yeah, basically it's like what actually should happen is not actually
Mm-hmm.
happening, right? So, you know,
Or happening in a wrong time.
happening at the wrong
The
time,
irony.
the irony of it. Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Used a lot in stories, movies, book,
Yeah.
that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Mediocre. And if something or someone is mediocre, it means that it's like it's average, it's not very good. It's like the emotional middle seat of adjectives.
It's a good way to remember, like a way to remember the word is medium,
Medium.
mediocre,
Yeah, or also like meaty is like the middle of
middle.
something. Mhm.
Yes. Dyslexia. Dyslexia is a learning condition and it affects people's reading and their ability to spell. It's
Mhm.
basically this condition where when you look at certain words, it can be flipped or it can not, you can't see it the way that it actually is. So
The letters
people,
can be all like jumbled.
yeah, so people who have dyslexia take a longer time to read something,
Hmm.
basically.
Hmm. The word supposedly, we talked about this one, and supposedly is how you're supposed to pronounce this word. And it means according to what is believed or claimed. Like you can say, supposedly this is the correct way to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And it reminds me of Hannah and I setting up our equipment for the first time ever in our life, right?
Mm-hmm.
We were just like, it goes here. Supposedly, it's
Mm-hmm.
supposed to work this way.
Yeah. Or like supposedly the weather, the weather website or the news said that it was going to rain, but I don't see a cloud in the sky. You're kind of using it a lot of the time you're using it in a doubtful way. Like you're saying
Uh-huh.
like, "Oh, well they said, but I don't know," right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This next phrase is funny. It's a funny phrase. Say what now?
Mm-hmm.
And you usually have to say it in that tone. And when we say what now, it's just an informal way that we express surprise or confusion. It just basically means what?
Mm-hmm. Like, what?
Yeah.
Wait, what? Awesome. And to finish this vocabulary galore, the word eruption. And eruption is a sudden outburst. It's like volcanoes do it, or grammar lovers when they hear could of, or literally used illiterally
Mm-hmm.
once again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we may have some grammar grudges, but we also have grammar grace.
Yes, language evolves and compassion should too.
That's right. So keep listening, keep learning, and
Educate
educate yourself.
yourself.